I got this random text message from Jackie Hill Perry. She said, well, I was having a conversation with a publisher and your name got brought up. I'm sitting down having meetings and conversations with these major publishers, like publishers I've read from. I said, God, you must be real. Because my dreams keep dying on me and you keep resurrecting. Everybody talks about like having faith, strengthening your dependency on the Lord when you're waiting for the thing. Nobody talks about strengthening your faith and depending on the Lord all the more once you get the thing. When I really look at this opportunity, I really have seen God fight for me and God do things for me that I couldn't have done for myself. And nothing is too hard for him. And when he fights for you, it always ends up better than you imagine it to be. The initial email was, this is funny, sorry, I'm busy at the moment. I don't have time to represent. I don't think you're in a position to write a book. You're very young. We sit down and I realize, that this book isn't happening. What is up, everyone? We are back with another episode of Shaping the Culture. Shaping the Code. What is up, everyone? We are back with another episode of Shaping the Culture. Don't make me laugh. Dog, this dude Parker's been on one all night, bro.
Look, bro, I'm excited to be back. It's been some time.
It's been a long time. It's been a couple weeks. Much needed break though. We've been out the city. We've been in NYC.
In the city.
That was a good time.
That was probably the most fun I've had in a while.
We laughed a lot.
We did. I'm always putting things together.
They're not going to get it.
They don't have to.
That's hilarious. Anyways, but it's good to be back. We missed y'all. We try to feed y'all some content while we were gone, uploaded a sermon, put out a vlog, but we're here. And today we're back with an update.
Oh my.
We're here to celebrate God's goodness and his faithfulness, huh? You're not ready to talk about the goodness and the kindness of God.
Y'all don't love him for real.
His relentless patience, his steadfast love, his enduring mercy. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know.
There's dimensions to it.
There are dimensions to this.
My.
You probably have seen it from clicking on the YouTube video. I signed my first book deal.
Whoop, whoop.
And we're here to talk about it. Now, just to kind of set the tone for the conversation, what I want to do is encourage you guys by sharing my testimony. The Bible says, the Word of God says that we shall overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so today I want to talk through this whole journey and how we got here and how detailed God is in all the little things he did. And so I'm excited. And of course, if you didn't know by now you know, we got Mr. Thibodeau in the building.
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm back like I never left.
How you feel?
I'm good, bro. I'm happy to be back. I didn't realize how much I missed it till we hit record. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize how long it had been, but we're here.
People don't know. This is fun. This is a good time.
I have a great time.
It's awesome.
It's even better when people engage in the comments.
Huh?
That's what I enjoy.
That's been fun. Seeing people comment.
It
And shout out to people in real life telling us how these podcast episodes have been blessing y'all. It's been humbling. We were actually just talking before we hit record how people have been extremely blessed by the episode Insecurity is Pride. I've heard multiple people tell me how much they've been impacted by that conversation. And so I'm just grateful, humbled that y'all are tuning in and that the Lord is using our little 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish and feeding your spirit. Amen. So we're happy about that.
Hallelujah.
Parker, you doing well before we jump into this? Any updates? Anything going on with you?
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm good though. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. I'm alive. I'm in good health. I'm not sick. Glory conference is over, so I have less looming over my head every night when I go back home. My God, it's a great feeling.
Amen.
Yeah,
Praise the Lamb.
Let's talk about you though. We got a lot to get into.
We do have a lot to get into. We do. Now, I gotta set this story up because honestly, y'all can't make this stuff. We can't make this stuff up. Okay. So I've always wanted to be an author, writer. Fun fact, back in the 4th grade, years ago, over 20 years ago, little Ebenezer, I won this writing competition. We had this assignment as 4th graders across, I don't know if it was the state of Minnesota or across the Twin Cities, one of the two, but we had this assignment to write an essay or write a paper on if we could spend anyone in the world with for just a day, who would that be, right? So kids are saying, I want to spend the day with George W. Bush. People are saying, I want to spend the day with this person and that person. And it's all serious. Me, though, I said, if I had a day with anyone in the world, I would want to spend my day with Eddie Murphy. True story, folks. Can't make this stuff up. I was in the 4th grade, won that competition, and I just knew that one day I'd be a writer. And it was encouraging for my family and I, and it was cool. Like, I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was such a big deal. And I got recognized on the local news and all that good stuff. And so I've had this itch to write. Fast forward to, man, I'm old, dog. This is post-college.
All right, relax.
2014, 2013, 2014. It's sending me that 2016 is about to be 10 years ago. I remember the summer of 2016 like it was yesterday.
Bro, 2008 was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's actually wild.
Do you know how much good stuff happened in 2008? Different conversation. Continue.
Yeah. So fast forward to post-college, I had this dream to write a book on discipleship and what it looks like to live on mission. So I started typing away, and I'm sending it to my friends, having them proofread, like, what do you think about this? Does this land? Is this impactful? Is this ministering? And I had some friends, even then, really believe in me, encourage me. And then I remember I gave it to a mentor of mine, someone I submitted myself to, and I was like, hey, I want to write a book. What do you think? Do you think you can set me up with this? Do you think you can walk with me in this journey? Do you see this gift? Do you affirm this gift in me? Do you think this is a good idea? All that good stuff. And so I shared that to this person, and they basically responded back by saying, hey, I don't think you're in a position to write a book. You're very young, and you don't have the experience, the wisdom to put on paper something that would add value to people. And so I would recommend that you don't even think about writing a book until you're in your 50s and 60s.
Crazy.
He was like, even me, I don't plan on writing until I'm a bit older, right? And so in the moment, I definitely heard what he had to say, and it made sense. But I think the way I internalized it was, oh, this is not the gift or call on my life. This is not what God has called me to. And, saying back what he said, that wasn't even what he was getting at. But I don't think I had the emotional maturity to discern that he wasn't shooting down the dream, shooting down the idea. He was just saying not yet, right? And I also thought, like, dang, 50s, 60s, that's a long time, man. Like, might as well say goodbye to that dream. Would I even make it to 50? You know what I mean? Lord willing. So that was like the thing that kind of ushered me away from this dream. But here's the thing, it didn't last long. It was only a matter of years before I started writing again. And so what's crazy is I was burdened maybe like 5 years ago to write a book on friendship. And I remember my friends asking, like, if you were to write a book, what would your book be on? I'm like, friendship. And I still want to write a book on friendship. I think it's a conversation that's not had. It's not a topic that's explored. And I think there's a lot of things we could talk about as it pertains to friendship. And I think that's the least talked about relationship in the church, really in culture at large as well. And so that was kind of like where my headspace was at. So I started writing, and again, wrote a few chapters, getting excited about it. I started reading books on friendship. And I thought to myself, what's the point? I'm not even going to put this out. Nobody's going to read this. Nothing's going to come of this. So I shelved it. So I was like, all right, let me put this away. Until 3 years ago, one of my mentors, someone that has believed in me, actually helped me plant the church that I pastor now. He said, hey, I'm thinking about writing a book and I want to write it with you. It's a writing project, and I think that we can really serve people in this way. Boy, was I elated. Parker, do you actually remember this? Like, I don't know if you recall this season.
I don't remember the very beginning, but I do remember a period of time where like you were, I remember you telling me that, and I remember you being excited, especially because you were able to write it with somebody else. Yeah. And because you had it, you low-key like had some of it in the clip already. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this is like my time. Like, okay, it's time for the book. I'm super excited. I'm down to do it. So I do remember like the earlier process of it. Yeah. The earlier stages.
So here's what ended up happening. We split the book in two. He had a handful of chapters to write. I had a handful of chapters to write. And boy, did I get going on it. I went home and I'm just like typing away. And I finished like 4 chapters in a month. And what ended up happening is he got caught up in life. And so he's just unable to keep up. He's got ideas. He's having a hard time putting it down. And eventually we sit down and I realized, that this book isn't happening. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, 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 wah. that was in 2023 where that was like, okay, it's not happening. Now here's where the story gets interesting, family. The date was April 2nd, 2024. I'm a nostalgic. I definitely
nostalgic, romantic, everything.
All the things I love. I got dates. I got screenshots. I've got journals. All the things, video journals, you name it. It's April 2nd, and I remember it was later in the evening. I just had come home from playing basketball with some friends, and I got this random text message from Jackie Hill Perry. What? And she reached out saying, hey, I was watching a podcast episode of yours. No, let me rewind. She didn't say I was watching a podcast. She said, hey, I think you should write a book. That's it. No context, nothing. And I'm like, what is going on? What are we talking about? What? And I was like, you must be a prophet or something, because I've been wanting to write a book for some time. And then she went on to say, yeah, I was watching one of your episodes, and by the questions you ask, I can tell you there's a book in you. And I believe that there's some things you have to share that can serve the body. Brother, let me tell you, I said, God, you must be real. Because my dreams keep dying on me, and you keep resurrecting them. But here's the crazy part. She's like, well, I want to help you get set up. Let's get on a call. Like, we can push this forward. I said, say the less. But here's what ends up happening. Everybody knows Jackie is extremely busy. Mm-hmm. And so for one reason or another, and she's been super apologetic about it, we didn't get a chance to have a follow-up meeting, right? So here in my mind, I'm thinking, see, it's not meant to be. This is not for me. This is what I'm talking about, right? It's not supposed to happen. So I literally surrendered that to the Lord, and I said, Lord, whatever you want to do with that, whenever you want to do it, however you want to do it, I trust you, right? So fast forward a whole year later. Now, this is the crazy part. The date is April 2nd, 2025. A whole year to the date, okay? I'm at a service. I'm at a church service in the city, in the great city of Minneapolis. Not Perry's name. It's a different community. It's like a midweek service. I'm there to be blessed. And when I'm there, I run into a friend. Now, this friend of mine, she's excited to see me. She's like, yo, I was actually just talking about you. I was like, what? What happened? She's like, could you see yourself writing a book? I was like, all right, Lord, what's going on here? She said, well, I was having a conversation with a publisher, and your name got brought up, and they think you should write a book. Not a publisher, an editor for a publishing company. They think you have what it takes and they think you should write a book. Are you interested? If so, I can connect you guys. So I'm like, okay, Lord, is this what I think it is, right? And so I end up meeting with this editor. We sit down at a coffee shop, and Parker, you probably remember this story. I'm thinking I want to get to this coffee shop, and we're gonna sit down, and I've got my questions about what it looks like to write a book and how to write, and I think I'm gonna get signed in the moment. So ignorant, bro. I had no idea. I didn't think I was gonna get signed right then and there, but I thought like that was gonna push the conversation.
This is it. It's time. Make the phone call. Sound the alarm.
Sound the alarm, right? And so, but then what ended up happening is I found out that like the publishing company that she was with, the what I wanted to write probably wouldn't be a good fit for them. So I was like, you know what, like, you know, here we go again. Just
That's what I'm talking about.
Just what I'm talking about. It's not meant to be. But I do remember like asking her like, hey, if I were to write a book, like what's that process? And she's like, well, at first, you know, you need a literary agent, you know, in order to like, you know, put yourself in front of publishers. And then, you know, from there, your agent will help you land a deal, so on and so forth. So I said, bet, bro, that for about a week, I didn't do anything. And I remember talking to a friend, and I was telling my friend, it's not meant to be. This is not for me. And my friend was like, dog, the editor didn't say it wasn't for you or you shouldn't pursue it. They gave you the blueprint. I think you should like look into this. Like just because you're not going to sign with them doesn't mean that, or doesn't mean just because your idea for the book doesn't align with what they're publishing doesn't mean that there isn't anything for you. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Bro, this is what's so crazy. So I went on ChatGPT and I searched, who is Dr. Eric Mason represented by? Who is, and I told this to Dr. Sheeta Lyons too, who is Dr. Sheeta Lyons represented by? I'm going down the list, Philip Anthony Mitchell, and I keep seeing Embolden Media Group. So I go on their website and I see the application and what it looks like, and you need to put a proposal in, right? So bro, I'm up till like 3 a.m. putting together this proposal. I see the agent I want to represent me. I put in my app, right? Radio silence for 3 months, 3 months.
My God.
This is like April, May. I didn't get, actually, no, was it 3 months? It was like 2 months. I put something in April and I didn't hear anything until early June. And here's the crazy part. The agent I want to represent me, the initial email was, this is funny, sorry, I'm busy at the moment. I don't have time to represent.
Dang.
So I'm reading that email. I was like, see, God, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Why y'all messing with my emotions, dog? Why you messing with me? Why do I keep trying, right? Wait till I'm 50. I hear you, Lord.
My fault.
And then I put my phone down, and then something in me like 5 minutes later was like, just check your phone again. So I open up my phone, go to my email, and literally within that 5-minute time period, she had emailed again and said, sorry, that was the wrong person. I'm actually interested in representing you.
My God.
I was like, ain't no way. It's happening. I couldn't believe it. Like, I literally could not believe that this was going to happen. So long story short, we put together a proposal for publishers. And dog, when I tell you this past summer was such a humbling summer, because I'm sitting down having meetings and conversations with these major publishers, like publishers I've read from. And I'm sitting down with their VP, with their marketing director. I'm sitting down and I'm hearing about how they're excited about my book, how they're excited about what this could be. There isn't a meeting that I took that I wasn't told that I have more than one book in me. And I was like, dog, like, God, what are you doing, right? What's going on? Long story short, I ended up finding the publisher that I want to partner with, and lo and behold, it's the publisher that the editor I met with initially, it's her publishing group. So essentially, the same publishing group I didn't think would bring me on is the same publishing group that actually signed me. And I was like, God, you are faithful. You are kind. You are generous. You are loving. You have good plans for me. You're a good father.
When I think of all you done,
when I think of all you brought me, like I was gone, and it's just been a surreal thing. And I've actually started the process, and it's been a journey. It's been crazy. So that's like the backstory of the deal. I left out some necessary details that I will eventually get to at some point. But that's been a crazy thing that has just taken place in my life. And I've been excited to share that with you. And I'm excited to see what God does in and through the book. Now, I definitely want to talk about spiritual implications and waiting on the Lord, patience. This is where Parker's about to jump in and all that. But I just wanted to ask Parker if he had any thoughts on that, because you saw that process, at least since last year when I got the text.
Yeah, I think I'm not surprised by the things that happen, and not because I got some revelation from God that all these things are going to happen for you. Yeah. But I think when I look at the trajectory of your career, when I look at your work ethic, and when I just look at God's hand on your life, and I've told you this before, I'm like, you going to be all right. Like whatever comes up, whatever obstacle, I'm like, bro, I've walked with you enough to be like, the Lord knows you. Your name is in that book.
It's in the book.
You know what I'm saying?
Look. I hope.
And so I think, yeah, bro, just watching the favor that you've had, and seeing other people affirm things that like we've talked about, things that we have said about you, that our friend group has said about you. So hearing vice presidents and people from a number of different publishers talk about, we want to back you. Let's do a tour. How can we do this? How can we support you in these things? Let's talk about multiple books. Let's talk about a workbook. Let's talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. I think it's just cool to see in general. I think it's dope to see your friends win. And I think it's also been really interesting to watch you navigate accepting what's happening,
interesting,
and also humility. Because I think even in the insecurity episode we talked about this, but I think watching it in real time is just always a reminder that there are times where I think part of your shock is God can do this, but he doesn't have to do this with me. And so having years, even in that story, like a lot of that story, what makes it so grand is not just the success, but it's the rejection that came prior to it. And so having years of no's, years of, well, let me just do it and I'll give the results up to God.
Right.
That's developed you in such a way that's allowed you to be okay with rejection, to be okay with results being there or not being there, or the variation of results, the highs and the lows. I think it also, though, it kind of created not a complex per se, but just kind of, it gave you this, like, I'm not going to expect that it has to be up here. I'll just be satisfied with whatever results God gives me. And so I won't set a huge expectation, because I don't deserve to have that. Like, God can do it if he wants, but he doesn't have to. And so I think seeing the wins happen in such succession and with such gravity, it's been interesting watching you just get hit with like, yo, I can't believe, you know what I'm saying?
It's crazy,
especially like because things happen so quickly. It's not always in the moment, but we'll be out to eat, we'll be on a trip, we'll be doing whatever, and just kind of sit back and be like, hey, bro, you have a book deal, dog. Like, with the same people that are representing this person and this person. Like, there are people who are actively seeking to say, hey, we want you to do this for us. We want to partner with you. We want to give you our resources. And so I think that that's just a testament to, obviously, the Lord, but also your faithfulness, your work ethic, your dedication, all those things. And so that's something that comes to mind. And so it's just been cool, bro. And, like, you're just not taking it in such a way where it's like, well, finally, I knew it. It's just, it's such like a genuine, like, yo, this is such a dope experience. And even like your willingness to learn and ask questions and be like, yo, how do I navigate this? Talking to other people who have been in similar situations and be like, yo, they call me about this. What's the best way to handle it? You're not being like, yo, I got it. I'll figure it out. It's like, I'm new here. I'm very green and I need some help. And so I think even that, like your attitude and toward the reception of the thing, you know what I'm saying, just has like this essence of humility and gratefulness. So that's been something that's been dope to see, bro.
Dang, I appreciate that. Yeah, I actually had a meeting with my editor yesterday, and I told her, "Hey, rip me to shreds, please." Like,
okay, see, now I couldn't do that.
I said I want this to be the best book possible, and the only way that's going to happen is if you're honest with me about what you like and what you don't like and what I need. Because part of it is humbling. I know my voice as a preacher. I know my voice as a podcaster. I don't know my voice as a writer. So it's been a unique challenge to try to figure out, like, how do I sound like me in a book form? And for the first couple of chapters, it's just a lot of theology. And I'm like, I'm not preaching though. We got to incorporate story and example, and it can't be. And I'm like, no, I want to be heady. But then I was like listening to an audiobook by Tim Keller this morning. I'm like, no, he incorporates story and personal example. I'm trying to like figure out like who I am, how I show up, my sound, things like that. But you said something that I want to lean into in this conversation. This idea that like I've heard no for a really long time. And I for those who don't know, not that, I don't know why this is I do think this is relevant. My age is 34. And the reason why I do bring that up is because, and I've also been in full-time pastoral ministry since I've been 23, and I've been serving the house of God since I was 16. So almost 20 years of like ministry. So like nothing just happened, one. And two, God has like really broken. God has broken me to the point where I fully understand the opportunity that I'm in right now. When you've heard no for so long, you don't take anything for granted. Nothing. But secondly, your approach to the assignment looks different. Because like I could care less now. Like if I would have gotten this deal at 25, I don't know if I would have handled it the way I'm handling it now. There's something about being in the game for so long where there's like this maturity, there's this calmness, there's this like level-headedness about this deal, in that like I'm genuinely, like even last night I was praying, Lord, help me think about the people that are going to read this book. How will this serve them best? Like when somebody opens up this book and they're reading through the pages, will this help them be the kind of disciple, the kind of follower of Jesus that will impact their cultural context? Like that's something that's heavy on my heart. And I feel like if I was at 25, I'm probably thinking about, what does this mean for the next book? What does this mean for platform? What does this mean for speaking agents? What does this mean for money, right? And I think that like that's always going to be back there somewhere, but like I really don't care about it at 34 in the way I would have cared about it at 25. And so I think in some ways the Lord has said no, because he was doing some things in me that would allow me to step into the season in a way that he would be honored and glorified by. And it wouldn't be cute if I had pride. It wouldn't be cute if I came in and was like, wow, look at me. It's just like, stuff like that is so grotesque. You know what I mean? It's like, dog, like, I know at 34, it wasn't my gifts. I know at 34, it wasn't my charisma. I know at 34, it wasn't my doing. Because if it was up to me, it would have been done a long time ago. The audiobook I was listening to this morning is Every Good Endeavor by Tim Keller. And he was talking about Esther. And he was, when Mordecai was encouraging Esther to step into her role, he was saying, you have come for such a time as this. And Tim Keller was leaning into this word come. And he said, the better translation is, you have been brought for such a time as this. And Tim Keller is leaning into this idea that when you understand the phrasing as brought instead of come, you know that Esther didn't bring herself into the palace. She didn't make herself beautiful. She didn't pick herself. She couldn't have positioned herself to be in the place. I mean, she's a Jew. She's not even supposed to be in the palace to begin with. And so Tim Keller was making this point that like Mordecai was reminding her, you are not in this position because you earned it. You're not in this position because you did something. You've been brought into this. You've been handpicked by God, and God has selected you for such a time as this. And that's how I feel about this moment. I don't feel like I've earned it. I don't feel like I've moved certain things around, that I opened certain doors for myself. I literally feel like I've been brought. Like I wasn't looking for a deal. I wasn't looking for an opportunity. The last 3, 4, 5 years, people have kept pursuing and asking me to do something, and eventually landed and turned into this. And so at 34, I can rest in that. I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about who here will be impacted as a result of this book. In the same way, Esther being brought into the palace would impact her people greatly. And that's what I'm about. Who are the people that God has set aside that would be impacted by the words that he's entrusted me with as I write this book? I wanted to ask you, Parker, because I feel like you and I talk about this often, like how in this season what's your relationship with no been like?
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like and not to like set you up, but I remember you texting me maybe like a week or two ago, like you're something to the effect of like you're starting to see why you shouldn't get what you want when you want. Do you remember that text?
I don't. I'm about to go look. keep going.
Something to the effect of like, the things that come with these doors being opened, or will I be really ready for what I'm even asking God of? Something to that effect. Yeah. Was it you? Maybe it wasn't you.
That'd be funny if it wasn't. I'm looking right now. But to answer your question, while I'm searching, my relationship with no, I was actually talking with someone about this this week.
Yeah.
I think at this point in my life, I've learned, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I've learned to hold things very loosely.
Mm-hmm.
I say still learning because there are definitely things that if I get a no, I'm disappointed because I still move with a level of expectation. Absolutely. So I'll say like, oh God, whatever you want. But I'm thinking like, oh, come on, man. We know what it's about to be.
Yeah.
But I think there are, bro, I move, think, and plan with a lot less certainty when it comes to like long-term things. For things that are on the daily, I know that I'm supposed to go to work. I know that I'm supposed to serve my church. I know I have responsibilities that I'm supposed to steward over. But when it comes to, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, next year, next month, I just don't know. And that's not a somber, melancholy, everything is worthless and nothing matters, so I'm not going to plan. It's just like I've walked with the Lord enough and I've seen enough in my own lifetime to just see that just stuff can happen just in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to things being a no, it's easier to trust that God is saying no for a reason.
Right.
And that I've seen enough over time to know that if he's saying no right now, it's for my benefit.
Right.
And I might not understand it in the moment, but I know him enough to know that I can trust.
Right.
I remember I didn't get my first car until I was 22, and I was a junior or senior in college.
Dang.
Yeah. And so, listen.
Long late bloomer over here.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine feeling that. And so, like, that's like all throughout high school, not having my own ride, and all throughout my first couple years of college, commuting through college. And there were ways where I was able to, like, use a family car or, like, have a vehicle that I was able to use freely, but I didn't have, like, my own joint. Mm-hmm. And so I remember I was probably like 17, 18, and I was like, I was putting confessions up on like the bathroom window, on the back of seats, and above my bed. So as soon as I wake up, I'm saying it. When I'm walking out of my room, I'm confessing and praying. When I'm going to the bathroom, I'm like just meditating on these things. I didn't get a car for 4 or 5 years later, right? What I knew at the time that I got my car, I wasn't thinking about how much it would cost for gas. I wasn't thinking about how much it would cost for insurance. I wasn't thinking about what it would cost if I had a repair.
Right.
I wasn't thinking like there was experience that I didn't have driving in the snow. They're just like practical things that I wasn't even aware of. That if I had gotten even like the type of car that I wanted, where it's like, oh, I want something new and this and that, I had no way to pay for that thing. I had no way to keep it up. I wasn't prepared, and I didn't even have the capacity to know what I wasn't ready for.
That's a word.
And so by the time that I received it, even now, bro, there's stuff that when I got my car that I still didn't fully realize until like the past couple of years. I'm like, dang, like had I had this earlier, I could have messed it up very, very easily. Like I wasn't prepared for what I was even asking for. And so it was an act of love to withhold something. And it wasn't even that it was being kept. It just was like, yo, not right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so all that to say, I think like I've just seen stuff like that enough to know that when God says no, or when someone says no, just trusting that God is who he is, and that if he wants me to have something, he'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And if it's not happening, I just have to trust that there's a reason for that.
Right.
Even if I don't understand it.
That's good. That actually, that makes me think about another thing I've been processing. I actually was processing this in the gym today, but like, you know, everybody talks about like having faith, strengthening your dependency on the Lord when you're waiting for the thing. Nobody talks about strengthening your faith and depending on the Lord all the more once you get the thing. So being here, I feel pressure. Being here, I feel a level of weight and responsibility. And it's like other people are involved. There are other people that have invested in this thing, that are backing this thing. I'm thinking about like the people who are going to pick up the book thinking it's going to be one thing. And I've really like, I remember like in the gym this morning being a little burdened, like, dog, like, I don't know, like, can I handle this? Have I bitten off more than I can chew? And I remember the Lord like really challenging me, like, look to me, stop. The way you look to me while the season was no, look to me now that the season is yes. The way you like trusted me when you didn't have it, trust me when you do have it. The way you honored me when you were waiting on me, honor me and wait for me in a new way. And I'm kind of learning you don't necessarily graduate from dependency. I'm learning that like if you're really about this life, then no matter what season you find yourself in, you're gonna need him. Like I think about this too. I was talking to like some friends in LA who are like married and have kids, and they were laughing at me because I'm like, man, if I take a step forward and get married, this pressure and you know, like what is being a husband gonna demand of me and my character and my time and my sacrifice and my gifts and my energy and my thought, like, and then they were laughing at me. They're like, brother, wait till you have some kids. They're like, imagine a human being that is 100% dependent on you, and how much. I had a friend share with me. He's like, marriage, there's a level of death, but when you have kids, he's like, bro, I've died completely. Jesus. He said, I've died to my wants. I've died to my timetables. I've died to how I want things to be done, when I want them to be done. I've died to even when I want to leave the house, the time I want to leave the house. He's like, there's a level of death. And I'm kind of like processing that in real time. Like, and this season is exposing in me that maybe deep down subconsciously I thought that once I got here, then I'm good without him. I remember telling you this when I got back this week. I was like, bro, like I've even prayed foolish prayers like, Lord, I don't want to be needy anymore. I was like, I'll show you.
Word? Say less.
Needy. This is the only currency that's going to work in this relationship.
I got you needy.
I got you needy. That's hilarious. And so if we don't wait well, we won't celebrate well. If we don't endure well, we'll never steward well. And I think I'm just kind of learning in this season that like how you responding to God's no might give you an indication of how you respond to his yes.
Yeah.
And if for any moment you think that you're good once you get it, I think you've missed the point of it. And I'm learning right now, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so funny because what you said, I resonate with. I don't know what's going to happen in a month. I don't know what's going to happen in 3. I don't know what's going to happen in a year. I'm out here. And I'm like, Lord, I surrender, you know, like, and that's the scary part about adulthood is like, what's guaranteed? Like you're learning,
death and taxes.
You're not death and taxes. You're not in control. And the quicker you are, and here's the thing, money, influence, opportunity gives you this false sense of control. Yeah. And brother, don't drink from that Kool-Aid. Like you really don't got it. You really don't got it. And so I hear that. Another thing I've been processing that I'd love to get your thoughts on is this idea that like, how do I make this not sound cliche? Nothing is wasted. So as I've been writing this book, I was actually at the library with a friend last week as I was writing a chapter, and they were making fun of me because I was like, just like typing away, just locked in for like 4 or 5 hours. And one thing I noticed is this: I didn't realize how much was in me until I started writing.
Oh my God.
Like, I didn't realize how much Bible, how much experience, how many thoughts I had. I didn't realize like I was like, whoa, I've really, really, really been formed and shaped and prepared and discipled. And I have really been entrusted with a lot. And in this writing process, I'm learning like the little things I overlooked, like you and I, Yosef Yoni, hanging out and we talking about Bible and we're like laughing about it and we're relating to one another. I didn't realize how much that was deeply forming me and how that would show up in book form. Or all the messages I've given the last 10, 15 years, that they're like deep in this well somewhere that I like it like comes alive when like when I'm pulling for it, it's like right there, you know, I can reach for it. Or like the life I've done and the pain that I've experienced and the rejection and the denial and how that has deeply shaped and formed me and impacted me and helped me be conformed and transformed into who I am today. And I'm learning like, wow, again, the cliche is like nothing is wasted, but like one thing that I'm really wrestling with is this idea that like everything is being used and everything will be used. And that it's like Mr. Miyagi, like you think it's foolish. You think you're doing something that's irrelevant. You have no idea how much you're setting yourself up for success. My mentor used to always tell me, do something today that the version of you tomorrow will thank you for. And I didn't realize being faithful today will show up in gratitude tomorrow. And it's opened my eyes to the need for obedience in a whole new way. Because like I was like, if there was habitual disobedience the last 10, 15 years, I'm a fraud. That's it. Like I've got nothing to give. I've got nothing to offer. And these like incremental steps of like faith and obedience and failure and repentance and accountability and community and restoration, and it's deeply formed the work I'm doing now. And I'm learning in a whole new way that like yesterday's season is deeply some way somehow connected to tomorrow's. And we don't know, God is the grand weaver, so we don't know how he's going to put things together, but like it brings a sense of urgency for the here and now. Because if you really believed that the mundane is not really mundane, but in the mundane, you're being formed. In the mundane, you're being developed. In the mundane, you're being shaped. In the mundane, you're being trained. Like, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like, Moses had no idea that he was being trained for 80 years. He had no idea being in Egypt the first 40 years, being in the top of the top schools, learning the customs, being in the palace, understanding the systems, having the favor, having the relationships. He had no idea that that's going to serve him for what he was going to do years down the line. Again, when Moses was in the wilderness for the next 40 years, he had no idea that navigating at night, in the morning, moving and living, that would serve him, because down the line, after he delivered God's people from Egypt, that he would be leading God's people in the wilderness. And this whole time, like, this is something that like fascinates me. He was in class and didn't even know it. He was learning and didn't know he was learning. He was being shaped and didn't know he was being shaped. He was being developed and he didn't know he was being developed. That's why when God says, hey, Moses, it's time, he says, you got the wrong guy. Two things. One, he didn't know he's in class. And two, he didn't know his assignment. And it wasn't until he stepped into his assignment that he was able to actually like walk out what God had for him or what have you. And so, yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you, like, as you're processing and thinking, like, have you already seen that in your life, that like yesterday's not wasted and that yesterday's deeply connected, intimately connected to today?
I'm seeing that a lot more. Mm-hmm. I think like, and I remember even talking to you and Yoni about this a while back, but like even seeing how my idea of what the future would look like is what right now it looks like for me is different than the version that I saw for myself maybe like 10 years ago.
Right.
However, while that's true, that doesn't mean that that's God's plan B because I did something, did something wrong. And so I think like something that I've come to value a lot more is that principle of doing something now so that the future version of me is thankful for it.
Right.
Because I think like when you're younger, you just don't always have the perspective or the understanding of the consequences of your actions. Some people do, some people don't. But I think that you grow in that as you age because you look back and you're dealing with the consequences of your younger self. And you're like, man, if I could go back, let me go back and do whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think that while that's true, there's also a grace because all of those things have brought you to where you are. Yes. And so at the very least, you can impart into somebody else, hey, don't do that.
Right.
Do this instead.
Right.
This is how I ended up here. You don't want to be here. Let me show you how to do it a better way. But I think that even more than that, oftentimes what I've even seen in my own life is that's something to learn from. That's a way that I've encountered the Lord more. I've met different people through things like that. And so even decisions where, even today where I'll still question at times where I'm like, man, I wonder what would have happened if I had went left instead of went right. I wonder what would have happened if I would have talked to this person instead of that person. Regardless of that, when I look at the relationships that have been formed, the place that I'm at in my life, my walk with the Lord, the things that I've been able to be discipled in, developed in, strengthened in, all of those things, like I'm at where I'm at because of the decisions that I've made. Not to say I've earned where I'm at, but in the sense that you can never look at someone else and say, you're the reason why I am where I am. Right. Every decision that you have ever made in your life has brought you to the exact point that you're in right now. Right. While that's true, there is also a God that we serve that is facilitating and maneuvering through all of those things. Right. And so while you might look back and say, I can't believe this happened, there is also a grace that's there where you can look back and be like, dang, even though I did this thing, look at where I still ended up. Look at what I was able to learn. Look at what I'm able to say that I have made it through. Look at the things that I'm able to now impart into other people. And even in certain cases, bro, dang, look at where I'm at. This actually ended up being super, super cool. Right. And so I think that it's made me more sensitive. In short, it's made me more sensitive to try to be wise, to not make decisions based off of instant gratification.
That's the word.
And also to know that as I make mistakes, and I will continue to do so because this is my first time living, that if I God is big enough that if I go left when I'm supposed to go right, he'll bring me back to where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Like that was factored into the plan. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So while it might be a surprise to me, it's not a surprise to him. And so as I learn, give it up to him. As I make mistakes, give it up to him. As I make decisions that I think are right and end up being wrong, give it up to him. And a lot of times I'll make decisions that I think I think are wrong that end up putting me right where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
So yeah, to answer your question in a nutshell, it's been a journey, but I'm seeing like how much God actually works things together. And we talked about this even a couple of weeks ago, like in Romans where it talks about all things work together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. Like it's all things working together.
Right.
And so if you look at one isolated instance, like, yeah, you might feel like, oh, how could this happen? Whatever. All right, cool. But that's not the joint. That's not how it works. It's everything coming together. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So good. I've got one more thought around this and then we can land the plane. I met up with a friend recently. We grabbed lunch, and as we were talking about, this book deal, he had told me, he's like, man, watching what God has done for you has made me reflect on my own. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I put out a book, but it was self-published. And he's like, as I'm hearing your story, it's made me wonder, did I do this in my own strength? Or is this something that like God actually wanted? And it got me thinking about this idea of like letting the Lord fight for you. And, we were talking through it, still trying to figure out like what was that in his particular situation. But it got me thinking about my own situation. And I was thinking to myself like, wow, like there were plenty of instances where I could have like self-published. I could have done it my own way. Like that's like a format. That's a way to go. And there's actually nothing wrong with a lot of people self-publish, and I might even self-publish at some point. But like when I really look at this opportunity, I really have seen God fight for me and God do things for me that I couldn't have done for myself. And I think about like that Psalm, I think it's Psalm 42, it says, be still and know that I am God. And when that verse is a response to something that actually has taken place in, I think it's either 1st or 2nd Kings with King Hezekiah. And the story is amazing. King Hezekiah, he's one of the last kings in Israel who was faithful to the Lord. And, the Assyrians are trying to come in and conquer the Israelites. And they've already like taken the northern kingdom and they're trying to come in and take him now. And man, like this man, King Hezekiah, he's fearful. He doesn't know what to do. And he kind of goes back and forth. I mean, he's known for being a faithful God, but he ends up like selling the gold from the temple to kind of keep the Assyrians at bay. And then he repents and he's like, oh, that wasn't the right move. And that's there's a whole nother sermon in that. Like, faithfulness is up and down. It's a roller coaster. It's a journey. But like he came to his senses, and really that was his fear. Like his fear led him to compromise, which is again another sermon. But like he eventually like gets it right with the Lord, and he asks the Lord for help. And in 2 Kings, like there's a moment where like he's referring to the Lord as the King of Hosts, the Lord of Hosts. And for those who are familiar with biblical language, that essentially means God of angel armies, right? And what's so fascinating about this story is as he prays and the Lord says, I got you, the Bible says when he went to sleep, God sent one angel to the Syrians, and one angel destroyed, killed, obliterated 180,000 soldiers. When King Hezekiah woke up, their enemies have been defeated. They're no longer needing to worry. They're not concerned. And from there we get, be still and know that I am God. And I find it so encouraging that the Lord waited till they slept. And the Bible says he's the Lord of angel armies, meaning he's got a whole army of angels, and God doesn't even unload the clip. In the middle of the night, he sends one. If one can take out 180,000 people, what can an army of angels do? And this idea that like when he slept, God fought for him. When he put his head down to rest, the Lord stepped in and did for him what he could have never done for himself. And that's something that I'm like realizing in this season. Like I'm understanding this idea, be still and know that I'm God, on a whole nother level. Just this idea that like, yo, let God fight for you. If it's for you, if it's meant for you, you don't need to worry or concern yourself. You don't have to make things happen for yourself. And I've felt that temptation, like whether it's podcasting or preaching or opportunities, like there's just like, maybe if I get in their face and maybe if I make this post and maybe if I do this thing, then like this will lead to that thing. We got to be faithful, no doubt. We got to steward, no doubt. But there's a difference when someone is stewarding from a place of obedience and stewarding from a place of worry, where somebody's like trying to put themselves out there for the sake of putting themselves out there and putting themselves out there because they're being obedient. And there's a way to respond to moments. And I'm just kind of relearning in a very profound way. And this is stuff I've known up here, but I'm learning in real life. Like, life is much sweeter when he fights for you. When you let him like step in the gap, things that you didn't even imagine were possible become possible. Like, I've always wanted to be an author, but I couldn't write this story. I've always wanted to write a book, but I couldn't have lined things up in the way that God lined things up the last couple of years. And there's something beautiful about that like when I rest, when I sleep, he works, he fights, and it's nothing too hard for him. And so be encouraged, those who are tuning in and you're believing for something, you think God has called you to something, let him fight for you. Be still and know that he is God, that he's got an army of angels, the Lord of hosts, and nothing is too hard for him. And when he fights for you, it always ends up better than you imagine it to be. That's all I got for today. Any thoughts, Parker, before we wrap this one up?
I do have a closing thought. I thought of this earlier, and I was trying to figure out a way to weave it back in. This is in the vlog. Go watch it if you haven't watched it.
Yeah.
But when y'all started pitching to publishers, I remember you going through the Instagram of your literary agency and looking who had gotten signed and kind of looking to see, all right, this person got 6 months, this person took 4 months, this person took this person took that. And so when you started sending out the proposals and stuff, I remember you being like, oh man, I don't know how long it's going to take, but based off what I'm seeing, it'll probably take this long. And I remember telling you, I was like, I won't be surprised if you get something this week. Within a couple hours, you started getting like offers. Of people who wanted to publish, not like, hey, interest. It was like, no, let's rock. And so I think you were saying this a little bit earlier, that just the way that God does something is often better and different than what you would even imagine. And so even you still like taking the steps, even though like you're on the path, you're still like, all right, God, let me just do this thing. Let me try to have proper expectations. Let me know what to expect. And the way that even that got expedited was in a way that like you can, bro, in hours, bro, like the same day. You know what I'm saying? Where
people
like
responded back.
Like versus on Wax, like there's people who are taking like the amount of time that you had like radio silence, it was double that. After they had the agent and they're sending to people. You know what I'm saying? And for you, like within the same day, people are hitting you back being like, yeah, let's rock. Let's roll with it. And so I just think that's a testament to what you were saying earlier.
Yeah. You know, I hear pressure. That's pressure.
All right, man.
See, this is what I got to work on. This is what I mean. Depending on the Lord in a whole new way.
You know what I hear? I hear that you are ready for it, and that's why it's coming so quickly.
I sure hope so.
Because like, listen, bro, if you've been writing books before anybody asked you to write a book, clearly.
Yeah, it's something I've always loved. And that's why I started this story with 4th grade.
I'd actually never heard that story. I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah. As our friend Yoni says, there's layers.
I'm always figuring things out.
But I hope y'all are encouraged by this. Like, I really wanted to share this exciting news with y'all, share my joy with y'all. But in addition to that, just wanted to encourage y'all as well. Like, the no season, there's a purpose in it. That God is developing you, and that He fights for you. He fights for you. And we're gonna put this in the description below. But like, if you want to be a part of our email list to get updates on the book and when it's gonna come out, and for you to if you want to pre-order it, all that good stuff, please hit the link in the description below and fill out that questionnaire, and we'll have access to your email. We'll keep you guys in the loop. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank y'all. You know, something I really appreciate about Shaping the Culture podcast is we haven't blown up overnight, and we still have a long way to grow. And it's just showing me we're building an authentic community. You know, my dad always told me, don't trust anything that grows overnight. And I've been committed to the process, and it's been fun. And man, reading through the comment sections, the DMs y'all have been sending me, they've been life-giving. And so I don't think words of affirmation is like my top 2-3 love languages, but there's a level of joy that I experience when I read how the Lord has used these episodes, these conversations to minister to y'all. So we love y'all. Thanks for rocking with us. Until next time, family, peace and grace. Shaping the Code.